Welcome to Archer and the Devil.
And guest.
There we go. Episode 1.
Episode 1.
We are started a new series of podcasts, as you might have guessed, with guests.
With guest.
And
who's today's guest?
Who's today's guest? Thank you for asking. Today's guest is somebody that you will probably recognise his voice more than you will recognise his name. And that is because we have Mr. Jarod DeAnda. He is the voice of Formula Drift for many years, for all of the years. He's done, if you followed my racing career, you'll recognise him as the voice of Gymkhana Grid. He's done Red Bull Drift Shifters, Rallycross, and other things.
Other things too.
And many more, like they put at the bottom of a poster at a festival, and many more. Jarod, how are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, thank you. Welcome to Archer and the Devil. I am Jake Archer, and I'm here with my special guest, Jarod DeAnda. Jarod DeAnda, known as the voice of Formula Drift, among many other things, including the voice of Snap-on Tools, Harley-Davidson, Gymkhana Grid, Red Bull Drift Shifters, and more.
See, that's why Jarod does the job that Jarod does.
Yeah, that was better.
And we're two schmucks sitting in a kitchen doing a podcast.
That was better.
I fucking hate you so much. So good. I have known, how long have we known each other, Jarod? 6 years?
Yeah, about that. I was going to say just shy of 10.
6 years. We meet up. To be fair, it probably is. When was the first grid? 2012?
Well, they say, it's been 10 grids.
Did you do the first 10... two? Like the first two?
Where was that at?
Irwindale, LA.
Yeah, I did the first Irwindale one.
Yeah, the Ken Block Invitational.
Yeah.
So you've done more Gymkhana Grids than I did.
Yeah, I mean I've done every single one.
Yeah. So they was 2008. So yeah, I think the first Gymkhana Grid that I did was 2012. So 8 years, 9 years, coming up to 9 years. I've pretty much seen you once a year, every year, without fail. In a different country, in a different bar, somewhere.
Haha, yes. Well, and again, the grid, the history of grid, like they say 10 Gymkhana grids, but it wasn't every year, you know. Or I think they had 2 in a year because there was like the X Games and there was the Invitational.
Yes, X Games.
You know, so that kind of threw everybody off.
So the devil is not a car guy in terms of our world.
Yeah, no.
He likes old shit cars.
They're not shit cars.
So when we talk about racing, he just kind of glazes over.
I like old American muscle cars.
Okay. Well, geez, Jake, just shit cars, right?
I mean, that's I was going off his original actual car that he had, which was a Ford Capri, which was an old shit car.
That was an old shit car.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful car.
Not like a Capri like in the States, like an actual Ford Capri.
I mean,
yeah. Doesn't Fly have one of those? You guys know Fly, Jake?
Possibly,
Fly, right?
Yes. He's a max power photographer.
I'm guessing his was in better condition than mine was.
Yeah, his didn't sit outside the house for 3 years, not getting touched.
Yeah, I had to go through the trunk to get into my car as well because the doors didn't always open. So I'm already guessing his was better than mine. It was like a really shit Dukes of Hazzard car.
The good thing about Jarod as well is we don't have to Americanify what we say because he's pretty.
I'm well traveled, my friend.
He's well traveled.
I can speak all the accents, mate. Like you guys, that's Australian, right?
Except for English, apparently. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah.
And then hello, love. Like I came on, and then fuck off, you pisser. Like I don't know what that is. That's just something. So
that sounds like my mom. That's what my mom says.
It's bad.
The basis of this podcast has supposedly started out as like basically two dudes sat in the pub chatting shit through our love of travelling. Yeah. That's how this came about. Sonny's travelled many countries on foot. I've travelled many countries and seen a racetrack. So we have very different experiences of travelling. Yours is probably closer to my experiences, Jarod, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, just having announced, and you know, I turned 42 here in the screwed ass year that is 2020, but you know, I really didn't start traveling heavily till I would say 06. You know, so do the math. I don't know, 14 years ago, 40 years to carry the one. I don't know, younger, and then. But yeah, the travel is part of it, right? And what's crazy is just given the minimalization of traveling right now, it starts to become your identity, right? And people are like, oh, I'm so tired, and you know, and you're like, and then it puts it in perspective when you're like, pump on the brakes. You're like, holy shit, like I haven't traveled this long, and I don't know what to do with myself, and you know, I have to hang with my wife and kids a lot longer than I would like to.
Are you telling me you're missing the red eyes? Is that what are you saying you know that right now? Or
at the juncture of we're recording this, I have like a slammed month. Again, just coordinating this, admittedly, for those that are listening, I thought it was yesterday, and then here it is today. So I screwed up in scheduling. I had a Zoom call, and I had a meeting in the morning. I had to go. You know, unfortunately, woe is me. I had to pick up a Land Rover from a dealership that they're letting me borrow for a few days, which is pretty sweet.
Yep.
And then today I had a podcast this morning with Gum Out with Larry Mack Reynolds. If you're a car or NASCAR guy, Larry Mack was Davey Allison's crew chief and Dale Earnhardt's crew chief, and he has multiple championships and wins, and he's just a fantastic guy. And then I got a call later to organize stuff with Hot Wheels Legends, and then actually we have the event tomorrow night at Thursday. I fly out midnight to go to Bowling Green, Kentucky for LS Fest through the weekend, come back Monday, then actually going to Ryan Turk's wedding next weekend, Thursday through Sunday, come home, do another Hot Wheels Legends the third Thursday of this month, and then the next morning wake up and fly to Seattle for Formula Drift round 2 of the Pro 2 Championship, and then Saturday and Sunday is round 3 and 4 of the Formula Drift 2020 Championship. And then that will be September.
Okay, I'm exhausted. Just listening to you not breathe through that whole situation. And I was like, this needs to stop. This is going to stop. No, there's more. Oh, that's just September. Okay, well, that's just September then.
Right.
That's mental.
So again, the identity thing, it's a bit of a humble brag, right? We're like, oh man, you know, and it does suck that a unit of measure for your workload is how stressed or overworked you are. And I think that the silver lining to the craziness right now is you probably wouldn't have started this podcast as soon as you did. I know my podcast I didn't start until this happened by forcing, right? Like I've been paralysis by analysis. What do I call it? What's the name? What's it going to be? And it's just like, shut up and do it.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of COVID and lockdown and the quarantines and all that is like, dude, if it wins, you're like, cool. If it fails, you're like, blame it on the COVID. Dude,
right.
The alcohol.
Well,
right?
we did. I think we did 5. Was it 5 episodes? And then we went into lockdown.
I think we were on. They were just in 6. I think.
Yeah, so we was just starting to gain momentum, and
we started
literally
in January.
Yeah,
we're doing weekly, so we were literally like the 6th week in, and the government decided to tell us not to leave the house.
And then we just got stopped for months. So any momentum that we did get, we kind of like, oh, shit. And then it was like, do we start again? Do we even bother? Like what? And then it got to the point where all we was talking about was fucking Corona, week in, week out, because nothing else was happening.
And here we are again.
Yeah, and we're back talking about it again. Yeah, it just that's why I thought if we look at investing in some bit of new gear and getting some interesting people on, and
I like it. I'm in it. Yeah, let's stop talking about COVID. Where the heck do you live? Like, I saw a video of your freaking, I guess you call it your front yard or your farm. Like, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, that's where you used to live.
Oh yeah, no, that was my old house. That was in the middle of nowhere. That was literally there was like one road, like a link road between 2 main roads, and I was right in the middle of it. And there was one lane, and there was literally like a lane of like a lane road. And there was, I think, eight houses on that lane, and that was it. That was all that was there.
So it makes sense why when you encounter people, you just chew their ear off because you're out there in the just fiddling your diddle by yourself, and then you're like, people. So you start just talking to people.
Yeah, like literally, there was no street lights. There was no.
To be fair, Jake's like that. Whether he's around no people and he sees 1 or 1,000 people, he will take the time to try and annoy all of them.
Annoying is the wrong word. Annoying is the wrong word.
It is the wrong word.
I would say Jake has a sense of eagerness and inquisitiveness that equalizes to the sum of all his totals.
You're a lot nicer to him than I am.
That's what I like, Jarod.
Yeah, obviously, you fucking dick.
That's what I like,
by the
Jarod.
fucking way?
I like Jarod.
Yeah, no, we just talk shit about each other all the time. That's essentially the basis of our friendship.
Yeah, but that's the English way.
That is the English way.
Are we allowed to fucking?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Just don't drop a C bomb.
Yeah, the C word's the only
No.
word.
Yeah,
That's-
I would never. Only when I golf. It's the only-
Right.
Oh really? Is that really a used word in the States? Like I feel like it's a new thing.
What, the C word?
Yeah.
Like the see you next Tuesday. Like I feel like it's.
I get it. No, I got it, bro. Jeez. Just relax.
I didn't want you to think I was using the other C word.
What's the other C word?
Cock.
Oh,
Not that one.
no, cock's fine.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like see you next Tuesday is more of a new thing.
I think even for us though, I think it's a very Australian thing.
Really?
Like, Australians say it just as regular vernacular. They're like, I was about to say it then, to give an example. But they'll just say it as a term of endearment.
So do we.
Not really.
I mean,
Not really.
anyway, Jarod, sorry, answer the question. We're not used to listening.
It's a fine. Yeah. See you next Tuesday is still not popular vernacular here, but yes, in agreement with the El Diablo over here, I would say that it is an Australian term of endearment. Like, it's a good C word.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what's up. You know, so it's all good. Like, you son of a bitch. Like, if you look at the definition of son of a bitch, you call that person's like, he's a good son of a bitch, you know, or like whatever, you know. So, whatever.
It's so good. Swearing is so good.
It is.
I love swearing.
So
And
how
they
often?
say people that swear more are more trustworthy as opposed to people that reserve their cussing and their swearing.
Is that true?
And if you think about it, that makes sense because you're being reactionary and you're responding. It's not a calculated like, I mean, and people always find it amazing because I cuss like a sailor, like you said earlier, Jake, is at a bar and stuff like that and have some drinks and we just start cussing and just like a pirate, you know, and then, but when I go on the microphone, I've only cussed twice ever in 17 years of announcing. It was
That's
the
impressive.
same event within an hour.
Really?
really?
What, obviously by just excitement or?
Yeah, it was a Formula Drift round of competition. Daijiro Yoshihara pretty much had the championship locked up at Irwindale, and he crashes his car. So I go, it was his in the bag, and he basically just needed to move on, and just shit hit the fan, and die hit the wall. And I was like, holy shit. You know, I'm like, oh, you know, and basically he lost it, and it was this Justin Pollock, who competes in the another Falcon Tires vehicle. It was all his to win, and he goes for it, and boom, hits the wall. Holy shit! Like, what is wrong with me, dude?
No.
Yeah,
I feel like under those circumstances, it's kind of like understandable.
Was it like an immediate apology?
Yeah. It was most definitely like I got, Ryan Sage isn't going to slap me with a rule or anything like a Catholic nun, but definitely like, my bad. He's like, totally get it. You know?
I would imagine it was probably you and every other single person watching all said exactly the same thing anyway.
Right. So it gives it that thing. I mean, I'm not saying anything racist or sexist, and not getting outed or whatever. But yeah, I mean, cussing is definitely, and I even tell my oldest son, not my youngest just yet, but my oldest who's 14. And it's like, cussing is used for if you want impact. Because it's like, man, that's a sick car. Man, that's a sick fucking car. Like, that's just a game changer, right? And then,
For emphasis.
So for emphasis, for impact. Or if you just want to, like, and it shows anger. And also, if you use it, incorrectly, or if you use it, over-abuse the cussing, you look dumb. So it's similar to the word like. It's the like, or the or it's anything like that. So you find different space holders or whatever for speech and talking and all that. But yeah, cussing is definitely freeing and trustworthy.
No, I've never heard that before. But now you've said it, it does make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense
right.
that you're not censoring yourself. You're not, you are who you are. You're reacting as you're reacting, and yeah, I think I don't swear in front of my mom, and I don't swear in front of my dad. They swear in front of me, but I don't swear in front of them. And I think that's more of a respect thing. But
okay,
I've just never. I don't know. I just never have. Like, my mom used to tell me off for swearing when I was younger, and then I just kind of carried it on. and I do a bit now. But like you say, it depends on the situation. Like if I'm on Twitch and I'm streaming and I'm effing and blinding, and my mom's watching, she doesn't tell me off. But if I do it on Facebook, I'll get a message saying, "Can you stop swearing, please?" So,
well, you know what that is. It's you're embarrassing her people that potentially see it.
But she swears worse than me.
Well, I know, but that's that. So that you're
a representative of her.
Yeah,
right?
true.
And I, again, don't know if anybody in the room has kids, but obviously I have two. But similar to that, like I would be like, Parker, why the fuck are you cussing? You know? Great story about cussing, and I I love that we're not even talking about cars just yet. But anyways, and that's cars is what we do. It's not who we are, and it's that's what it is. So, it is who we are, but. You know what I'm saying. Anyways, funny story about cussing. Parker, my oldest, he was probably like 5 or 6 years old, playing the game Chutes and Ladders. I don't know if you have that game.
Like Snakes and Ladders.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure. So Chutes and Ladders. So I make like a I make like a panda eats shoots and leaves.
I think that's the same game.
Yeah. So anyways, I my little guy ding 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 remove my guy, and then Parker rules. Boom. His little guy moves, and he's right next to me. He goes, Dad. And keep in mind, he's 5 or 6. So this is just shy of 10 years ago. And he says, Dad, you're fucking kidding me. I'm like, what? He's like, you're fucking kidding me. And I said, what are you saying? He's like, you're fucking kidding me. I'm like, Parker, what are you saying, bud? Like, what are you saying? He's like, never mind. I'm like, no, what are you trying to say? He says, when you're in the car and you're really close to another car and you say you're fucking kidding me? So he correlated being close in a car and our two pieces being right next to each other as being close. So you're fucking kidding me.
That's
so
incredible. He wasn't even swearing. He was just using the words that he thought you'd said all together. That's mental.
It's like a placeholder for "you're too close to me."
That's crazy.
Exactly. So he correlated the closeness and proximity, if we're using drifting terms here. And he correlated that and then knew that was close, and you're fucking kidding me.
Has that stayed as a thing now? Like, now he's older. If he's just close to you, you're like, you're fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
And he just knows what's up straight away.
Well, we gotta social, you're fucking kidding me. You know, we gotta keep away.
That is amazing.
So you said initially your use of the C word is used mainly on the golf course. How is your golf? Is it used a lot on the golf course, or are you generally a good golfer?
I'm a decent golfer, and then just when I have a shot, and it's like,
Right,
the ball is this is the C word, you know,
right, okay.
Not me, it's the ball's fault, you know. So yeah,
is it so? Okay, I don't really. I want to try. We've had this conversation before.
Oh, about golf.
I feel like I'm at the right age now to start enjoying golf.
Well, we were discussing height being an issue, and how tall are you, Jarod?
6'4".
Well, yeah, so you're the same.
I think I'm shrinking, like 6'3".
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
All three of us then, except for Rob, we're all 6'4".
Yeah.
So do you need like extra long clubs or something, or just normal size clubs? And do you just bend over, bend down?
What's this?
Like, do you need like longer clubs to golf with when you're tall?
Oh yeah. Sorry, clubs. I think they said clothes. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I get normal clothes. Clubs, yeah. Traditionally, if you're a little bit
Sticks,
taller,
golf bats.
Golf bats.
Yeah. Traditionally, you'll add like an inch. Not much. Not much. But yeah, it helps you adapt your swing. So yeah, I have a homie at this club company called Sub 70, and he built me some clubs that are just shortly longer, just slightly longer.
That's what I mean.
So,
see,
yeah.
Even in golf, you have tall people problems.
You do have.
It's a real thing.
It is a problem.
It really is. It's a real thing.
But yeah, Jake's third life crisis, I guess now.
Third.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, well, that means you're 100. That, like, I guess midlife crisis it would be, is going to be golf.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Well, here's the deal. Like, if you don't grow up with it, it's just an old person's thing, right? Because that's what you see. But golf is really cool now. Like, there's brands, such as big companies like Nike and Adidas, but Adidas is working with Palace skateboards, and then you see Nike bring out the Jordan 5s in cleat form, or they're debuting rad technology, or do this off-white sneaker, and then there's brands like Malbon or Outer Lynx, or there's a few. Like, I want to start a golf brand actually, and actually base it off of kind of motorsports meets golf. So
Okay.
I have a concept for a brand that correlates that, because a lot of surfers are really good at golfing, because if they're not out there surfing, they're in Hawaii or they're in amazing places that have dope courses. And if the surf's not good, you're going to go golf. And then a lot of race car drivers actually golf, and comedians. And I mean, I'm sure you saw the documentary The Last Dance about Michael Jordan, and
Yeah.
you know, he plays 36 holes to this day, like crazy, you know.
It seems like in this country that a lot of the football players, that a lot of them are golfers, aren't they? A lot of to be fair, it seems like a lot of athletes use or play golf as their second sport, as opposed to other sports. It's like it's still a sport, but it's like their hobby, even if they're a professional sportsman or whatever they do. So
well, it's similar to like camping, right? Like camping in England is very much like a old person thing. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, they're old, they're gonna golf, you know. And then so there's a correlation there. And also, golf is a metaphor for life, man. Like if you mess up on one hole, you have to pull your shit together and play the next hole, you know. And so that's what I have my you know, both of my kids can hit a ball, you know, and I'm teaching them, and it's a life sport, you know. So,
I think the one thing that's a difference with obviously there is just weather-wise. You can play golf pretty much seasonally.
Yeah.
True.
Whereas here,
we play in the rain.
play in the rain, yeah.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot less
miserable.
fun.
Like by December, like by November, December, sunset's like 4 p.m. So,
Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah.
It's dark at 9 a.m. It's dark at 4 p.m.
And I don't think golf in the dark really works. So I'm not sure.
They have glow in the dark balls. But
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a little extra. I mean, it's just they're not good. It's just more novelty. So,
Right. Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm still 50-50, to be honest.
Just go,
I think
just try it.
It's all good.
I think
Well,
got enough going on.
So I
to
skateboard and rock climb. So the idea of golf to me, just I'm the opposite of
too
that.
slow.
Yeah.
You think?
but there's I know a lot of skateboarders that golf too, like a ton. Like Sean Malto, I golfed with Sean Malto, part of the homies. He's Malbon dude, but Eric Costin, Malto, Bucky Lassick was there
cool,
when
okay.
I got my first hole in one, my only hole in one.
Right. Okay.
Jagger Eaton, I've golfed with him. He's a pretty good stick. Ronnie Krieger, he golfs. So I don't want to hear this like, oh man, it's not extreme enough to me, bro.
Trust me, he's not an extreme dude. He's not an extreme dude. He's not
selling
them.
myself way more than I am.
He's not one of them guys.
I mean, don't like if you're like, oh, I'm a skateboarder, and you pull out this longboard. All right.
No,
An electric one.
not a Lambo guy.
Just push the trigger. You mentioned cars. I now want to kind of go through the whole podcast and not talk about cars.
Well, did you listen to Joe Rogan and Post Malone, the 4-hour adventure
No.
of them just talking about aliens, and they're like, all right, we're here, we're doing shrooms, we're drinking some beers, and you know, aliens, man, like, and it's 4 hours. They barely talked about music, didn't talk anything about Post Malone's like albums or anything he's working on or anything. The only conversation was pretty much like, what do you listen to? Like Post Malone asked Joe Rogan, and he was like, Zeppelin, some kind of classic rock, like, you know, whatever. And then it went back to like aliens. Like, it was amazing. So I always just, you know, like you say, you don't prep, and neither do I. So because, you know, you have to take into consideration where everybody's at mentally. And again, we're halfway across the globe. You're across the pond. What time is it there right now?
9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect time for a beer. Attaboy.
I'm
Crank those beers.
I'm. What are you drinking?
I think in the States it's called Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
Well, it's like a dilute that you put water in.
Is it alcoholic?
Oh.
No, it's not alcoholic. It's just basically flavoured water.
Oh,
And you're on Bud, but
I am on board.
you're also an alcoholic, so there you go.
I mean, I'm not an alcoholic. Only on weekends. And what day is it?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. That's
I think Jared's an alcoholic.
okay,
Borderline.
cool. In that case, I have companionship, so I'm fine. If you're drinking with someone and you're not drinking alone, then it's not a problem.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One question that I did want to ask you, and I've always wanted... I don't know if I've asked you this question before, but how... And so in the States it's called announcing. Over here it's called commentating. Is it the same thing?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you could say emceeing, you could say hosting, commentating. Yeah, I announce. You know,
Okay.
announcing is the general, airplane flight. If I'm on an airplane and sit next to somebody, like, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh yeah, I announce car races and MC events and host videos and content. So yeah, it's kind of all of the same.
Okay, so and you've done Formula Drift since the beginning.
Since 04. Yep.
So you had said 17 years of commentating. So how did you? Was that your first job doing that, or did you? Because online
not job, but
commentating.
First announcing.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, announcing. So when you type in your name, obviously I said I've done some prep. It says that you started out in a tuner shop at 18. Was you a mechanic, or what was that deal?
No,
there?
gosh, no. These are very soft fans. I don't rent. I worked at a shop called Group 5 Motorsports in San Diego, actually on Miramar Road, and it's in San Diego. Right across Miramar Road is infamy of where Top Gun the movie was filmed. So the Top Gun flight school was at Miramar Air Station back in the day. It's now Marines, but it was Navy before, and that's where like the Tomcats and the planes were and all that. But Group 5 was a store. We were one of the first importers of Tomei in the States, and I went to Tokyo Auto Salon in 99. So it gives you an idea like how long I've been around and whatever. But yeah, I grew up street racing. I had an EK Civic in San Diego, and we'd run around San Diego and go to different tracks. And literally, Fast and Furious, the movie came out of what we were doing in Southern California primarily. Like I only knew Southern California, obviously, but from LA, like the Norco, Oxnard area, to San Diego, from North County, from Oceanside all the way down to San Ysidro, which is the closest town to the border in Tijuana in Mexico. So we would run around in our Civics and Integras, and there were hundreds of cars, and cops would come and bust you, and you'd try to run from the cops in your cars, and you just kind of don't be the last zebra when the lions come. So grew up street racing in San Diego, and then I eventually dropped out of junior college because I didn't want to get my Civic door dinged at the parking lot. And I worked at a shop called Group 5, and it was some great camaraderie. I was hanging out with older dudes and like just learning about cars and just being in the tuner world, because I didn't grow up with my dad. My parents divorced, and he was in Northern California, but cars, I just grew up with a lot of Filipino kids that were into the tuner stuff, and that was my hot rod. That's what I always say. Like my EK hatchback was my hot rod, and that was my gateway drug into the whole damn thing. So
you started announcing Formula D then about what, 24?
23?
Yeah,
23?
24.
Yeah, 23.
So had you done that before? Like, had you done anything before that, or?
No, I had not, and you could probably look it up. I've said it a million times. I have no formal training other than I was the kid that always raised my hand and would read aloud in class. I always knew that my voice would carry better than anybody else. And kind of a funny story is just about my projection of my voice and how I announce and how I sound. Is that in 7th grade I had this dude named Mr. Curtis. He was my teacher. I think it was like social studies or something. And one of my best friends, Mike Osageda, I've known since 4th grade. And here we are in 7th. We're in the same class. And we're in the back of the class, just chatting it up. And there's probably, 25 kids or so. And and he says, Jarod, get up here. I said, what? And he says, I heard you. I said, well, Mike was talking to. And he says, I only heard you. I said, oh. And that was maybe a small indication. But then progressing even through middle school and high school. And, I didn't like do big things as far as presentation in the gym or anything like that, but it was I liked, I wasn't a good student. I still am not a good student. I'm a constant student, but not a book textual, student. As you and Jake and I have had many conversations about education, information, and awareness and what's going on and all those things. It's like you're constantly learning,
Yeah, definitely.
By default. So with the opportunity of Formula Drift came along because I was working at a shoe company called Speedwell Footwear, and Ryan Sage and Jim Lau I've met previously because they worked at Hot Import Nights, and Jim was president of Import Drag Racing Circuit, and basically Ryan Sage and I just knew each other, and he's like, hey, we're starting this drifting series because Ryan Sage and Jim Lau brought D1 GP to the States. They were the first to bring D1 and they were gonna if the bad business deal of D1 did not happen, because they brought him over and D1's like, we got this, we're gonna do our own series, and Ryan and Jim just totally got screwed. So they paid for everything for it to come over. That was 03, and then 04 they're like, screw it, like fine, if you guys want to be that way, you know, the organization of Option and Sun Video or whatever it's called, they wouldn't have started Formula Drift. So thankfully they did, and they had 4 rounds in 2004, and I've never announced, and a lot of the cars I wasn't really familiar with, and drifting is something fairly new. I always saw like the run-free Corollas and some cool stuff like that, but didn't know it could really be a motorsport. And then they're like, you're charismatic, here you go. And the rest is kind of history. And then different iterations of either hosting or not being involved with TV, and then live stream has just completely changed the game as far as presentation, how it goes out to the world, and then obviously the expansion in Southeast Asia, and then FD Japan, and you know what's sustainable, what's going on, and utilizing technology. So that's why I say, you know, 2020 is year 17, and here we are, man. It's crazy.
It is crazy how fucking shit happens. Really, it really is. Like you've just said there, through a completely random sequence of events, you've ended up having a career in, I would assume, is your dream job, and it might never have happened. Like literally, you could still be working in that tuner shop, or you could still be in a magazine, or you know what I mean. You could have been there for 20 years. Like just how mad the world is.
I mean, I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for a year and a half. You know, getting my tie stuck in the vacuum. I worked at a toy company called X Concepts. They made tech decks, but they also made a toy line called Modifiers, where you modify the suspension and you change the exhaust and the body kit and all that. They were kind of just a cool little die-cast toy, you know, but you could modify them, so it fed into the whole tuner culture of what was going on. But yeah, I worked at a shop. Some of the greatest experience I had was I worked at a really core culture tuner magazine called TMR, stood for Toy Machine Racing Magazine. It really documented kind of the subculture of the tuner world. It wasn't corpo. It was kind of the big brother of big brother of skateboarding. We were like the big brother, but the little brother of these massive publications and publishing, you know. And
I was going to ask, is that Toy Machine, like the skate company, same?
No affiliation, but
right, okay.
You know, Toy Machine as in their smaller cars, you know.
Right,
so
okay.
We knew at Templeton, and we knew the brand, and they were cognizant of it. And Todd Swank, who owns Tumieto, which distributes Foundation and all those brands, he was aware of it and just let it slide. But coincidentally, like I say, the big brother was the anti of the Trans World skateboarding, right? If you know skateboarding, Trans World, the publication company, and then, you know, back in the day, it was, you know, was it Peterson Publishing and this, and I can't even remember all the damn names because they changed hands so many times. But you know, that magazine and my buddy Rodney Wills and the homies we were hanging with, I mean, that really solidified the MASH culture that I really appreciated, which was action sports, fashion, music, concerts, cars. You know, it's just this whole MASH culture that I truly enjoy, because I love, out of anything, is connecting. Like, you know, just connecting people and linking things up. If it's, you know, Killer Mike from Run the Jewels, he's a car guy, so I'll hook him up and get him dialed in here. Or if it's, you know, even bringing Bucky into this, and like, you know, Brian Scotto and you know, Ken Block, and hooking them up, and then race service, and the Snap-on thing, go over here and move this piece and do that, and like all of these things kind of work out. And like me working with Harley Davidson, I've never ridden a Harley in my life, but last year I hosted a bunch of content, and I want to learn how to ride. Pre-COVID, we're gonna do a whole video series about me learning to ride Harley and stuff, but that only happened because I worked with this dude Jake on an Optimum Batteries thing multiple years ago, and then now he works at Harley, and it's just like, you know, one, obviously never burn a bridge, you know, and just, you know, like I say, you know, do you know, under promise, over deliver, be honest, you never have to take a day in your life, you know, and just all those things correlate to being somebody that word of mouth, you know, I'd be like, I got a guy, you know. So it's been a wild ride and humbling, and, you know, like you said, a dream job, but a unique job that I never would have imagined for myself.
Will you be my dad? Like, your kids are going to grow up to be like they're already cool as fuck. I love his kids, not literally like in a weird way, but I kind of grown up with his kids on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I actually messaged him the other day and said, you need to let them stop growing up because they're like becoming little like men now, and it's not acceptable. Yeah. It's just not acceptable. I feel like they're my kids. I'm like, you need to stop growing up now. That's enough. Right. You're big enough. Yeah. Stop becoming a teenager. There's no need for it. And I kind of feel like I need some Jarod inspiration in my life. Like once a year, I might just ring you for like a weekly, like inspirational call, and then just put the phone down.
Are you making Jarod your life coach?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean, let's be honest. You would pay for this shit,
100%,
without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean, you're allowed to opt out of this, by the way, Jarod. Like, you haven't just got to stick to Jake having you as his life coach.
I mean, it's on a podcast.
I mean, he hasn't agreed to it.
I'm with it.
Okay.
Any way I can, inject somebody. Wait, that sounded weird. Any way I could, I mean, do life, right? We're just, I enjoy what I do and how I do it, and I know I'm not perfect, and it's just like drifting. Like they go for 100-point run, but we saw a couple of those last year, but they're very rare and very few and far between. And you shoot for perfect, you settle for good, and that's race programs. That's doing a presentation in sales, and I mean, it's just we're all just trying to navigate life, right? And if we could do life on the same scale, and again, I think that people have multiple religions, multiple beliefs, multiple faiths, and that's how we got to treat this COVID thing. You have to pay respect and say, like, all right, if you're not a masker, that's your religion. If you do mask, that's your religion, and that's your belief. And then now when it comes down to work and how you execute things, and like even just working with different companies, it's like, okay, what if you're like Hot Wheels, what company do you admire, not even in your space, but could you parallel from a branding standpoint and exposure and how they deliver on social media? What are they doing as far as continuity between all of those and all of that? So I enjoy all of those pieces, like just all of it.
I mean, that's pretty much how I did my racing was like, obviously you've got to look up to the best, which is obviously Ken, and you just try and emulate the things that he does and the way the way he carries himself, and like I heard a mad story about he had enough money to do a season of WRC, but chose to do 2 less events to then use that money for marketing to brand his time that he did doing it, as opposed to doing the full season and nobody knowing about it. And I just think if you've got that mentorship, not even mentorship, but just that in front of you to look at, and to go, well, if I can just do a 10th of that, he's obviously doing something right. Do you know what I mean? So if I can just emulate a part of that, then I think I'm doing something right. And I think it kind of worked to an extent. Everyone did say you do just want to be Ken, but I mean, why would you not want to be Ken? Be honest. Like, fucking dude's got the best life in the world.
But you forget that this is like the 3rd chapter or 4th or 5th chapter of his life.
Yeah.
And he's 50 years old.
Yeah.
He's 52, I believe.
Yep.
And he is definitely a unit of measure, just as Gymkhana Practice was not dumb luck. It was just a good video that came out at the right time. And I always talk about like Justin Bieber and Elvis Presley and the Beatles, right? Justin Bieber was on the church steps in Canada, and he just made YouTube videos, and Usher saw him. And watch the Justin Bieber documentary, man.
Oh, I've seen it.
The original one, the purple one.
I've seen them all.
It speaks to perfect timing and
100%.
Opportunity, right?
Yep.
Success happens when there's an opportunity and somebody to fill that void, right? So it's right there, and that's what happened, and that's what happened to Elvis Presley and TV and this and the Beatles and TV and all the British invasion and that, right? I mean, so Ken, the perfect storm happened for him with him developing DC shoes, then selling it, and at the tail end of selling DC, they signed Travis Pastrana. Well, Travis was really getting heavily into rally, and Ken has always loved rally. So, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm kind of just really.
Well, when we have Ken on the podcast, we'll get it. When you hook us up, we'll have more detail. Anyway,
So he, and this is, we didn't even talk about it on my podcast, but I just know this about him because I've known Ken prior to all the racing. Like I got Ken, because I used to work for Gumball 3000 as well with Maximilian.
Yep.
And I've done the rally 5 times, and I did work for Gumball 3000 as an organization for a year. But I got him on Gumball 3000 when they sold DC to Quicksilver, and it was Ken and his wife and Damon and his wife, and that was where Robin Big really flourished, and the whole Robin Big concept popped off with Ruben Fleischer being in their car and made a show and made a movie and all that, and that's where that really came to fruition, that marriage there. But Ken sold DC, but concurrently signed Pastrana. He's doing rally. So Ken originally was on Subaru, and he kind of parlayed it with Travis and the whole Subaru USA World Vermont Sports Car Rally team, and just made these little iPod shuffles with livery that had Ken and Travis on it, and just good branding. And you forget that Ken has been written up in magazines about being one of the best marketers of the year, and all these things. I mean, he thinks about that continuity that I speak of,
with multiple awards to prove it as well.
Right. And his on brand and how he thinks about things and liveries and bringing the cohesiveness. I mean, he likes art. He went to, architectural school, and there's those certain facets that many people don't know. And it's just one of those things where you go to a classroom and you say, hey kids, what do you want to do? I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a music producer. Right. And it's like, okay, well, what does that look like? Well, you make videos. Okay. What's it going to be about? What's your storyline? What are you trying to produce? Right. And then it's like, I want to be music producer like Dr. Dre. And you're like, okay, well, think about all the work and all, watch freaking Straight Outta Compton, and you learn like what's going on there and how it came to be. It's not just he's a race car driver and gets to do whatever. He doesn't need to do this stuff. He does it because he wants to do it, right? So
that makes it worse, Jarod. That makes it worse. He's literally doing it for something to do. He doesn't. It's not a job for Ken. It still blows my mind that the whole DC part of that. I still can't get my head around the fact that we've all, I would imagine, at some point, bought or wore or have had some sort of DC item of clothing.
I own 3 now.
That's what I'm saying. And then, to then... I still remember where I was when I first watched the first Gymkhana video. When what happened at 9/11, I remember where I was when I watched the first Gymkhana video. And then to go to then... Well, you'll remember, Jarod, it's my most watched video on YouTube. When I raced him in the final in Madrid. And Ewan Vaughan was calling the action, and that's still my best moment. But then you think, well, that happened, but the guy fucking was DC. Before any of that, he was that, and I didn't even. The whole way it all goes round full circle, and you just think this is weird.
Well, from what you were just saying about branding and stuff like that, and earlier mentioning the golf stuff, is that something that you've been involved in before, or is that something you want to pursue going forward?
Well, yeah, no, for me, the golf stuff is a hobby and a passion, and it's I try to look at things from a different perspective, and here I am, in my bedroom, in my swim trunks, and just a Formula Drift t-shirt. But I think fashion and where people are at and what's going on, I think that I could do something cool as well. And I don't know if you remember the brand Alphanumeric. It was a skate snow surf brand back in the day, late 90s, early thousands. And I helped them with a lot of concept designs and just different the guys and the designers. I just gave them a lot of the bronze teeth, just inspiration. So I helped design a lot of shirts for that, and that's an iconic brand just because they were ahead of their time. A lot of the Louis Vuitton silhouettes that Virgil Abloh has designed for men's Louis Vuitton look very skate and cyclical of 90s skate.
Right.
And a lot of these hyper welded seams and zippers and stuff you see on high-end Louis Vuitton men's stuff right now comes from Alphanumeric and that kind of early tech of snowboarding and whatnot. So, and Alphanumeric specifically. So I like design. I like fashion, even though I don't think I'm the most fashionable dude. I like it, and I think it's cool, and So
something maybe in the future to pursue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a fun side project.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if I start golf, will you sponsor me?
No, definitely not.
No is the correct decision. Just FYI.
I don't know if I'm going to do it.
I mean, I'll give you like a hat or something. We'll
yeah, that's cool. I'll take that.
That's enough.
I'll take that. I'll take anything.
That's a no.
That's it. I'll take that. I mean, back to the travelling. We've gone many different directions.
Yeah.
The Devil, Sonny, is currently training. He's a tattoo artist in training. He's currently going through his apprenticeship tattooing. We all share tattoos in common, but yours are a little bit different, Jarod. Why are yours a little bit different?
Why are all my tattoos different, or why are my tattoos different from yours?
Well, both.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know me, my body is a passport. So you can look up that hashtag, and basically it just speaks to my world travels. So it's kind of like the movie Memento. If you haven't seen it, it's the dude that kind of almost has Groundhog's Day, and he forgets, but it's the opposite. He forgets everything, right? So he has to tattoo himself with reminders of what's going on and how it's done and all that stuff. So my body's kind of like Memento meets Passport, and it's if you found me laying on the side of the bed, side of the road, you could.
If I found you lying on the side of my bed, Jarod, that'd be a whole different podcast, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm the devil. Yeah. I mean, everything from my grandpa's plane fought in World War II to, just my love for CBS News Sunday Morning, or the yellow submarine I got in Liverpool at Drift Shifters. I'm looking at my body right now. Mickey Mouse, Jesse Combs. I got tattooed as you saw in South Africa in the parking lot, or in Greece. I have like a thing, and Norway, Japan, Malaysia, the States, all over California. But I'm also a collector, like Mr. Cartoon, who has a movie on Netflix called LA Originals.
That's a rad dude.
Yeah, so Mr. Cartoon, I did a podcast with Esteban. They're both old homies.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But I have a Mr. Cartoon tattoo on my wrist of my oldest son's name, and then Dr. Wu, who is gaining a lot of notoriety right now, and I have my other son's name tattooed by him. But my body's a passport, so different ones from all over the world, man. Japan, like I said, Malaysia. I'm looking at Canada. Oh, what else? I got a bunch of shit.
Did you get one in Poland?
Yeah, I got one in Poland.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's.
Remember that when you went without me, Jarod? Remember that night?
Oh, yeah. Well, sorry, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, bro.
South Africa, we're lying on a bed in a car park, side by side, not in bed, getting towed, and then Poland, he went without me.
You're making these stories sound way sexier than I think.
No, it was getting tattooed in a car park in South Africa. Right, there's nothing sexy about that.
That's cool, though.
I mean,
that is cool.
It's cool that we're both still alive. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm good.
It could have gone a lot worse, but yeah, it's not too bad. It's good. You've got any space left?
Yeah, I got a lot of square footage. I'm a big hunk of a man, so. I got my belly, which is quite big. So, but my back is quite full, and then and I've been working my way up the thighs. But yeah, my sides, my ribs, and my stomach. But I as of right now, not below the wrist and not above the collarbone, essentially.
Is that because of work or?
Yeah, I mean, the stigma even of tattoos is still a bit rough, but I don't think I make enough money to justify
to not give that much of a fuck.
To not give a fuck, which is essentially what it is. Yeah,
yeah. DGAF. I actually do give a fuck.
Yeah,
yeah.
The what was I going to say? Oh, we was talking about the C word, not that C word, the COVID word,
right?
And you was talking about how much traveling you've done and have been locked into, and hectic. How has COVID affected you during lockdown? Obviously, you got time to spend more time with your family and stuff like that. But in terms of your mental health and looking at the world differently, has it had an effect? Has it been good? Has it been bad? I know you've just moved house, so there's obviously that going on as well. So
Yeah, great question, and I think it comes down to every day is different, man. You know, I mean, you got to feed your mind, body, and soul, and in different ways you get fed that with, you know, your worth. I mean, I'm not a very like man, woman. You do this, I do that. I'm very proud of where my wife's at and her career and everything, but a man is about their worth, and then obviously when you have kids and providing and stuff like that. So when I travel, it equates to working, which equates to monetary gain and value, and then also just what I'm worth as far as putting on a show. So when I get stifled and unable to travel, all of those things diminish, right? So that plays a role in sanity and as far as mental health. And, you know, with, like I say, it's kind of a humble brag, but at the same time, when I was talking about my travel here in the month of September, I'm stoked because it's like I'm providing, I'm back to doing what I do best, you know, outside of obviously personal stuff, but I'm doing my job, right? So, but you know, I've definitely drank a lot more, for sure. And that's saying a lot if anybody knows me. So
to drink more that's an achievement.
More.
Yeah, that's an achievement.
Yeah.
I managed the same the first month of lockdown. I drank so much, and then realized that I was drinking more than I would do just regularly. So I had to like refrain and set limitations on myself so I didn't die, which I've succeeded successfully. Still here with beer in hand. So. Congratulations to you for succeeding that too.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Drinking a beer as.
Yeah. So I think everybody, you know, what's crazy about it is one thing is it's affecting the whole world in different degrees, and and how people are affected is different across the board. Because early on, like my wife, you know, her work got minimized drastically, but then now it's like full on. She's busier than ever. She works for McGuire's, the car wax company, and she does sales for them and on a few different fronts, and is director of another one. But yeah, I mean, it's all over the place, man. Like as far as what the heck I've been doing, but fortunately, like, you know, keeping the conversation going, and you have to do the pivot, right, and the redirection of different brands, and doing a podcast, like I said, with Gum Out. I've done some voiceover for Harley, and then did a couple Zoom calls and this and that. And now this Hot Wheels thing that I'm hosting, where we have our second one tomorrow at the time of this recording, and it's been really fun. And that's cool to work with an iconic brand that is Hot Wheels, part of the Mattel family of brands, and hosting that has been really cool. So we have one in the bag, and excited for more of those. And that's just, again, another company not curling into a ball. They're a big ship, you know, and they're not curling into a ball, and they have to adapt and do what they think will appease their fan base, as well as not crumble a brand or a business.
So explain then what the Hot Wheels Tour is.
Yeah, Hot Wheels Legends Tour is a virtual car show that this is the third quote unquote year of it. But the previous years in the States, they would actually have physical car shows, and people would submit, and then they would allow them to come and show their cars. And one of those, each round stop of the Legends Tour would have a winner, and they take all those winners. So such as 2019, they would take all those winners, and they would have them the top, I think, 10 or 15 or 20 at SEMA, at the SEMA show. Yeah. And the finalists, and they'd have judges, you know, such as Magnus Walker or Tanner Fox and Richard Rawlings, and some people of interest be the judges, and including Hot Wheels designers, and that winner would be immortalized as a Hot Wheels diecast. So it's cool, which is it's really cool, bragging rights, right? And that's a trophy in itself that everybody could admire. So this year, they've adapted and pivoted, and people submit their videos, 4-minute videos, and each round stop has 20 vehicles that a cast of judges will criticize. So like round one was throttle.com. So my buddy Mickey and TJ Hunt, who's a YouTuber, came on, and we had BC Moto as a judge, as well as 2 Hot Wheels designers and Colette Davis. I'm just the host. Don't want that pressure. So 20 submissions, go through the vehicles. But we had Cody Walker, who's Paul Walker's brother, on there. We had Ryan Turk representing Mobile One because there's a fan favorite, and all the fan favorites from each of the round. One of those will go against each stop's winner. So the 20 submissions, they get scrutinized. They pick one that goes to the finals. So at the end of it in LA in November, we'll have the final round of Hot Wheels Legends, and we will find out who will be immortalized as a Hot Wheel in 2020.
So it's socially distanced car show.
Yeah,
effectively. Yep.
Exactly.
How devastated are you that SEMA isn't happening this year?
It just back to your question about sanity of things being shut down. It just is what it is. You can't cry about it. You have to move on. And I found out from somebody else that it was canceled, and then within the hour, I got a call from one of my point of contacts at the SEMA organization, the Specialty Equipment Market Association, and they said, "Hey, just so you know, when did you hear from the horse's mouth that basically, yes, SEMA show is canceled for 2020. And for me, I've worked for as many as 7 companies over 4 days of SEMA show, changing shirts and doing this. Like, I do Ford out front every year, change shirts and go do the Scion Tuner Challenge, go at night, go host a party for PlayStation, and then the next night go do the Baja 1000 qualifying out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The next 2 evenings, go and do Red Bull Global Rallycross, and then go do SEMA Ignited, and then Toyo Tires do this, and just jump around and bounce around, which is great to be the bell of the ball. And just
that's a ridiculous list.
It's like literally SEMA is, for people that don't know, SEMA is the biggest, probably one of the biggest car shows in the world.
It's the second largest trade show in Las Vegas after the Consumer Electronics Show.
Yeah, so that's how big it is. Yeah. So, but literally, like Jarod just said, you walk around and all you hear is Jarod's voice, but talking about different things at any different point. Like, you could walk around the show for 4 days, not see anything twice, and still hear Jarod's voice at different things, talking about different stuff. It's mental. But no, it's
hey man, well, that's the whole thing is I have to work smarter, not harder. So voiceovers and like hosting is duplication of yourself, right? But doing one singular live event like a Gymkhana Grid, love it. But for me, if I have to be there, that's removing myself from any other opportunities, right?
And you're there for 3-4 days, doing one thing. Whereas, like you say, you're at SEMA doing 7 different things each day. It's a big deal. You have an IMDb profile. Did you know that?
I do. I don't upkeep it, but I know somebody probably made one. What is on there? I don't even know.
Need for Speed. Something for 2020, I think. Was there a film or something came out? 2020?
I'm searching it right now.
And
I don't know.
Something else. I'm assuming this is voiceover for film. Or is it games as well? Because I know you've done voiceover for games.
Yeah, I've done games.
And I'm guessing film. Have you been in films?
No, I don't think so. Maybe. Shit, I don't know. I don't know.
Need for Speed's definitely on there.
So Losing Traction was the last thing.
Losing Traction.
Oh, okay.
2020.
Yeah, that was a TV show about Matt Field, which was good.
Okay.
It was cool. Yeah, but I mean, I've done other stuff. Obviously.
Oh, there's Shift Talkers from this year.
Oh yeah. That was a Motor Trend online show, which is cool. Yeah. Jeff from Hooniverse, he hosts that show, and it's like a Talking Heads Zoom game show, which is fun. So
you never stop.
But yeah, just trying. Trying, man.
Literally doesn't stop. It's fucking.
I was really humbled, and I'll admit, like, it was cool to be considered for Top Gear America. I was I don't think I told you since I've seen you last, but
no.
I was
Tell
in
the story.
Yeah, basically, last year I was contacted by casting, and they're like, "Hey, have you heard of Top Gear?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And they're like, "Okay, well, would you be interested?" I said, "Yeah, I mean, if you want to make a cool, kick-ass show, but it doesn't mean it's going to be good just because it's called Top Gear." I mean, we've seen different iterations of it over the years in different countries as well as here in the States. So this is the third go-round, and I've met the OGs that are now obviously at Grand Tour, but I'm good friends with Rutledge and Tanner, who host the first Top Gear USA, and now it's called Top Gear America. I think the biggest thing I was excited about was potentially working with Dax Shepard and Rob Corddry which were the two other hosts, and they went a totally different direction, and they went with more of a editorial gentleman. I don't know him. His name escapes me, but he's done stuff with Motor Trend, and he's good, and he's a good fit. I'm big, hairy, tattooed guy. He's small, I believe. I don't know if he's British or American, but that would have been a cool opportunity. But at the same time, I don't think I would have had the flexibility. And obviously, given the COVID times, it probably would have been quite different as well. But they passed on me. But I was one of just a few people they considered towards the end, about 5 people, and it was cool and humbling. And I think things happen for a reason, and always working on something. Just like you said. Never stop stopping. So keep it going, man. Keep it going.
That's cool. That is a cool story. They contacted you as well and sought you out, and they obviously had an idea. That's a cool story. I'd like that story.
And like I said, it's just. Why do you say that?
I'd like that story.
I sense that I don't want to say envy, but
no, you'd be right.
I know it's 100%.
You would 100% be correct in saying.
Of course, I think any petrol head listening to this podcast would be like, the host of Top Gear. Fuck yeah, sign me up.
That literally is.
Of course, it is.
It's the best job in the world.
But then you say that. Ask Chris Evans.
Yeah,
I don't think he'd agree with that.
Yeah, but that guy's a tool. He did such a bad job of it that I feel like.
I don't think he was that bad. Did you watch any of that, Jarod? That first when they came back.
No,
with was Matt LeBlanc in that one?
Yeah, LeBlanc was alright.
Yeah.
LeBlanc did alright. They had Eddie Jordan. I fucking hate.
Yeah,
Eddie
no,
Jordan.
I can't bear him.
From Formula One, if you know Eddie Jordan.
Yeah.
Just just the whole thing just sucked. It really did suck.
Eddie's the older cat, right?
Yeah, he's the old Jordan F1 owner.
Yeah, he's a fucking tool.
I met him at GR's Red Bull Global Rallycross in Barbados.
Oh,
because
okay.
we did a Top Gear live event with
that's right.
With Lewis and Ken raced, and I co-hosted with Eddie, and then what's the other girl that's always with Eddie?
Sabine.
As far as the
German girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So I worked with her and the guys. So Clarkson, Hammond, and May.
Question for Sonny: have you seen that video of Ken Block and Lewis Hamilton racing in Barbados?
I have not.
It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your life.
Right, well, I'll watch it when we're done.
The rallycross car out-accelerates the F1 car for about 100 feet.
Okay.
And then the F1 car literally looks like it's a fucking sonic fucking spaceship. You've never seen anything like it. Ken just decides to pull donuts in the middle of the track and nearly writes the car off. Nearly T-bones Lewis Hamilton. But they're just like that. Ken does the jump. Lewis goes. It's such a cool video. But I think all there is like fan videos. I don't think there's an official. I don't think there was ever an official video of it. It's just literally. It's just fan phone clips from the stands, which makes it look even more crazy.
Yeah.
And you was there for. I didn't realize you was there for that live. That's fucking mental. So did you meet Lewis?
Yeah. Yeah, I've met Lewis a couple times. I've done work with Puma, and basically was leading the Q&A for Puma out in Austin. So we've done it a couple times. One year he's mastered COTA, which is the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. He seems to always win that race, and even the 2 years I went out there to interview him. Another year I did go out there with Puma, and I interviewed Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo. So I've been out there 3 years, Dakota. Never gone to the F1 race, but Lewis.
So you've been to the track, but you've never been to a race.
No, we did it at the mall at a shoe store, Shoe Palace.
Oh,
because
okay.
Puma lines it all up, so they have all the displays and all the shoes of the collab Puma gear and all that. So, but yeah, I've interviewed Lewis. But one of the funny ones is I was like, look, dude, you ready to go get tattoos and barbecue? Because the championship's not yours this year. It was the year he wasn't.
Right.
I was like, look, let's just lock it up. You're not gonna fucking win the championship. Doesn't really matter how you do out here. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm down. He was super down because his tattoo, his back, a lot of it is done by Mr. Cartoon. So we just vibed out on tattoos and rapped out about that. And he was totally into it, and then his PR chick was like, no, it's a bad idea.
He gets a bad rep, doesn't he, Lewis?
But I think yo, Lewis, you're a man. You got this. Let's go.
I've always loved him from the beginning. I think he's such a good driver. He seems like a cool dude, but he gets a bad rap. He doesn't help himself sometimes.
I think the problem is like a lot of the criticism he gets for his aggression. But I'm like, in that industry, if you want to be the best, you have to be aggressive. Yeah.
Look at Michael Schumacher. We would crash into the back of you and take you both out rather than let you win. That's racing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
like if your aggression is what gets you on top of everybody else, then go be fucking.
There was that. Have you seen? I think it was the Rugby World Cup when England was playing. Was it France?
I'm not a rugby guy.
The last one last year. And all the England team got criticised because they was all pissed off because they'd come second. And they was like, oh, it's poor sportsmanship and this, that, and the other. I'm like, you've just come second in the pinnacle of your sport. You was that close to being a world champion and you come second. Sorry for being a bit pissed off.
Yeah, no,
and
completely.
It's like, and Lewis is the same. Like, it's all or nothing. Yeah. Like, literally, he would rather crash out than come second.
Yeah.
And I don't get why people don't understand that. Like, that doesn't compute with me. And the only thing I can think it is they're not competitive people.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
I think that's what it is.
Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I think
no. I mean, there's people that I know in racing that really don't care for him. I just think there's a couple different vantage points. I think that one, he's a bit, I don't want to say aloof, but he is conditioned a particular way that other people might not understand. Being young, being as good as he is, being a black dude in a traditional, fairly white motorsport. Let's call it what it is. But his upbringing is really dynamic and really interesting. And our boy Terry Grant knows him and grew up next to him and has seen him grow up. But he, and you get probably different Lewis. You probably get different Lewis Hamiltons depending on who and how you confront him, right?
Yep.
And everybody's human, but sometimes if you put him on a pedestal, you're going to get let down, right? Don't meet your heroes or stuff like that. But also, I would say that there's a fine line between cocky and confident. And sometimes you could really waver and you kind of, flirt like this. And again, that's depending on who you're talking to. But from a perception standpoint, I think Lewis is conditioned into really everybody stroking him. When I don't think that he's doing it a particular way, but I would say you'd have to be guarded, you have to be sheltered, you live this life, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. And then you have somebody who on paper is just by perception standpoint, Daniel Ricciardo, who's just like, so like fun loving and you get it. And he's, much different brand, not the results that Lewis has. Does that feed into it? So would you rather be the fun-loving perception guy and just have a good career and people are basing programs around you similar to him and potentially McLaren or supposedly McLaren next year, right? Leaving Renault. Or do you just have this monopolization of the motorsport and you absolutely just annihilate everybody from a manufacturer and a racing standpoint, but people think you're a dick?
But that's the thing. Like, I was never like when I was racing, I was never in it to win, which is for the best. But I fulfilled that well. But I never wanted to be the best. I never wanted to win. I just wanted to go racing. I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to, have the social aspect of it and whatnot. But I came into it late, whereas Lewis Hamilton was in it pretty much from birth.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's the only thing he's ever known, and it's almost along the lines of the Justin Bieber syndrome, where, like you say, like if you've been surrounded and you've been in that life for that long, that's all you know.
I was going to say the comparable for me is David Beckham, because for me it's the person who's taken it to a almost like a rock star level. He had the Pussycat girl. He had the Pussycat girl girlfriend. He does modeling on the side, like he has done. He's got the fashion, he's got the tattoos, he's got the magazine covers, and he's excelled what that sport is in terms of just being a grid sport into everything else.
Yep.
Like, because people who don't know racing know Lewis Hamilton.
Same as David Beckham.
Yeah,
they don't know football, but they know David Beckham.
Yeah, they're not going to know like Kimi Räikkönen, but they're going to know who. Like, even with British drivers, like here, like people knew Nigel Mansell, but not everyone knew. Like Damon Hill, for example, who was one of our greats, but every single person knows who Lewis Hamilton is because I think he excelled the sport.
Yeah.
And that gives more fuel to just like him.
Yeah, because there's a lot of other
that's
things.
the X factor.
Yeah,
that's the X
absolutely,
factor.
Yeah. I think it. I mean, he doesn't help himself sometimes when he's on social media.
I don't understand why he would need to help himself
about going carbon neutral when he, in possibly the worst sport for that
anything,
very thing.
I think his point of that was, because I'll argue that, I'll devil's advocate that, and so because of the industry he's in, he's like, regardless of how much fuel
I'm making a point, I'm trying to help. Yeah,
I'm still doing the little bit that I can.
But also, like we've explained before, he's got a massive platform.
Insane.
That car was sick.
That car was so fucking good.
But he's got a big platform,
right?
So he's doing what he can, even in his environment, because he could just turn around and go, "Well, what's the fucking point?"
Yeah. And if he didn't do anything ever, no one would ever question it. He's only getting criticised because he's trying to do something. And it's like,
true.
Well, don't do anything at all then.
See, this is why you're here.
Yeah.
This is why you're here. I come out with things emotionally, and you go, stop being a dickhead.
Yeah, but
listen,
there's this on the other side of that. Yeah.
But no, it's good. I think, Jarod, I know you don't want to go, and I can see that you're having like epic amounts of fun. But
I'm good.
We have been an hour, and I did promise you that we'd only be an hour, not a 4-hour Post Malone marathon.
A couple more inquisitions, and then we will bring this to an ending.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
We've
got to ask him questions.
If you have any questions.
No. If you have time to hang around, we'll.
Yeah. I'm hanging out.
I'm all out of questions now.
I can happily go into. You mentioned Led Zeppelin earlier when you were talking about Post Malone and Joe Rogan. I'm happy to talk about.
Oh, Jared's well into his music.
I was going to say because Jake isn't, so I don't get to talk about music very often on the podcast.
Yeah. What's in your you open your phone and you open your music app? What are you
currently
right now?
Is Dead Kennedys. So
okay.
Wow. Like at the minute, I'm really kind of like back into old school punk. So Dead Kennedys, Bad Religion, Sex Pistols, Jake shrugging because it's not a pop band with 5. He's into like Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls and Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
which is fine.
I like it.
I don't have any. I go from Miles Davis to Slayer to Taylor Swift. I by no means am I have like any critical standpoint on music. But what generally, so when you're like, do you listen to different things at home? So when you're at work, if you're on the road, stuff like that.
Yeah, admittedly, like it just depends on morning, lunch, evening, traveling, not traveling. It just depends. Like I'm not gonna wake up and start cranking. I don't know, like what something hard in my phone, but I'm all over the board. I'm just opening my Spotify, and it's like I have, Mac DeMarco to Beach Fossils, Monophonics, John Mayer, Post Malone. I love Steely Dan. Krungbin is something I listen to a lot. It's always a good one. Talking Heads to Grateful Dead. Obviously, I love the Grateful Dead. Tame Impala, the Growlers. So. Yeah, I'm all over the board. Like I love
Jake looks so bemused right now.
You could literally be speaking Chinese right now. I have no idea what you're fucking talking about.
Vampire Weekend. This new.
I know that one.
There's a new rapper. Post Malone signed him to his record label. This dude Clever. Have you heard of him?
No.
Yeah, he's pretty dope. Post Malone signed him. Casey Musgraves. Frank Ocean.
Did you hear? Frank Ocean's fucking badass. But did you listen to Post Malone's Nirvana set he did during lockdown?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was awesome. I was so pumped, and that was like early COVID.
Yeah,
it was just.
I watched that.
Did you?
Yep, all of it.
It was so good. An acquaintance of mine is his really good friend. He was just with him in Greece, and he tattoos him. Like he did the barbed wire and some other, like he did the big mace on his face.
Right,
like that. But yeah, I love Posty. Him and I are best friends. He just doesn't know it. But he's like. I could be his dad. Like he's like 23, like legitimately I could be his dad. And I'm like, I just want to have Bud Lights and Post Malone. Like I love the dude's brand and how unapologetic he is. I really truly love his stance on it. And talk about styling and the continuity of each concert having a different outfit and stuff. Like, Oh my gosh, it's so good. So, but yeah, Rex Orange County, love him. The Lagoons, Pamplemousse. Dude, I love it all. I'm just going through mine. La Impetas, super good. Yeah, I love it.
Jared as a record player.
Yeah, music is very, very important to me. I mean, I think we have a soundtrack to our life, and just like my tattoos, I want my music selection to be as diverse. And one of my favorite podcasts, because I do have my own podcast, Beer with Jarod DeAnda, because everybody enjoys Roadrunners, so you listen to my podcast as well. But one of my favorite podcasts, not discrediting any future, past, or present, but one of my existing favorites is my buddy Brandon Steinecker. He's a drummer for Rancid, and I really enjoyed that because it was similar to our conversation today about mental health and awareness and what's going on, and the crossover of music and art and fashion and motorsports and all of it. So if you got a moment,
I'm a Rancid fan, so I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, so my buddy Brandon Steinecker, he's awesome.
Jake, he just has no idea what Rancid is.
No.
Other than a description of something.
Bit dirty.
It's a punk band from the 90s.
Oh.
Yeah.
I only know him because I think he's friends with Ken as well. And Ken goes out on the buggies with him. That's literally, I wouldn't know any of their songs. But I've heard of that guy that you just said.
I don't know, you might know a couple.
Maybe,
yeah.
I don't know.
But no, I'm the same. Like, for me, music is like literally the most important thing as a species we've probably accomplished, other than when Alex Honnold climbed that wall. So that was just a joke for Jake's sake about rock climbing. But and Jake just isn't at all. So talking about music to somebody who actually has an appreciation of it is.
I do appreciate music. I like what I like.
You said Bob Dylan was boring.
I said what?
Bob Dylan was boring.
I mean, Bob Dylan is fucking boring.
Yeah, I mean, if you do not like him,
he's miserable.
You know,
he's allowed to be miserable. Miserable music's important. We've discussed this.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
What's that dude that always does fucking comic relief? What's his name? Bob Geldof. He's a miserable bastard as well.
I don't know enough about. I know like he was in the Boomtown Rats, but
he's just bored,
educated enough on Bob.
Just
Geldof
like sad.
To give an opinion. I have this thing where I think it just balances everything, and if balances everything, then as much as Backstreet Boys that you have, you also need some Radiohead to balance that out.
Yeah, but Backstreet Boys is happy.
You're not. Yeah, but you can't just listen. Life isn't just happy.
It is if you listen to the Backstreet Boys.
That's what I'm doing wrong.
Telling you, need more Backstreet Boys in your life.
How is it over there now, like with music and stuff like that? Are you are there like shows back on and stuff in the US now, or?
No, gosh, no. Last concert we went to was February. There's a gentleman by the name of Orville Peck who I really would endorse as well. He's a dude, if you haven't seen him, he has a mix. It's kind of a sound between Morrissey and Johnny Cash, and he wears he wears fringe on his face. He has like tassels, and he wears cowboy hats, and he's big in the LGBTQ scene. So he's really rad, man. Orville Peck. But that was the last concert we saw in February, my wife and I. And then
you went February?
Down, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think my last show I went to was February as well, so it looks like it's going to be... We're going back into lockdown as well on Monday. The government announced today that we're locking back down as a country. So,
no, we're not.
To a degree.
No. They're just stopping you from seeing more than 6 people. That's the only change.
That's a change.
Stop spreading fake news.
Fake
news.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something about... It was probably Corona related. Doesn't matter. Let's not talk about Corona anymore.
Yeah.
Although I did see a picture of a festival in Newcastle that's about to happen, and everyone's got their own little like metal platform.
Oh, they did that here. A couple of them. Yeah.
I'd go to that music festival.
I think if I was on the platform with like some decent people, then yeah. But
that sounds like I don't want none of this old festival shit where like you're getting sweated on, pissed up your leg and stuff like. No.
Then you don't know.
No.
So
I've been to car shows and they're just as bad.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah. But there's no, I'd go to the one where you can step away from people. I'm about that now.
So I really want to do that. Have you been to Burning Man?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I have not. But my boy James Kirkham has been to it. And I'm good. Like, I don't do those. I don't do those hard drugs. And like, I like a shower. Like, I'll go camping.
Yeah.
Like, we have a pop-up trailer, but I'm good on that.
Same.
Like, that's just too dusty and like weird people. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm totally like, if that's your MO,
I mean, it's not for me, but I feel like I need to experience that.
You would 100% go to Burning Man and fit right fucking in without a shadow of a doubt.
I need to experience that level of weirdness.
Me and Jarod would stand out like a sore thumb. You would just blend into the background and be like the most normal person there.
Like, hey, don't let me into your thing. Yeah. I would not stand out as bad as you, obviously.
Yeah. But like, there was a bar in Berlin called Berghain. I'm not sure if we've spoken about this on a podcast before, but it's notoriously known for being the hardest club in the world to get into. It opens on Fridays, it closes on Monday morning. And there's like, they take your phone off you or cover your phone up when you go in there. There's a guy with a tattoo on the door who like literally looks at your essence and decides whether you can handle it or not. Yeah, so you queue up for like 4 hours. He looks at you and makes a decision. Whether or not it's cool for you to come in. And my two friends went, and there's like fisting and fucking and pissing.
Jarod, what are you doing?
What am I doing?
You sound like you're making something out of wood.
My brother's fixing tile, and I'm just walking into the kitchen.
Oh.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, a little bit. Sorry, carry on, Sonny.
But yeah, so it's like a club with like fisting and shitting. And I don't want to fist anyone or shit on anyone, but I kind of want to see it. And I feel like Burning Man's the same thing for me. I don't want to go and take like a fistful of hallucinogenics and see what happens, but I kind of want to see people who are.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it sounds. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to partake. You can just
be a casual observer.
Be part of the fabric.
Right.
I don't know about the piss and the shitting thing either.
I don't think that happened to Burning Man. I don't know though.
Jake, you're such a prude.
Sorry. Sorry. That's what everyone says about me.
COVID changed me, Jake.
Just not about that pissing life anymore. I do apologise. It's the whole social distancing thing.
It'll get to you eventually.
It's difficult from 2 meters away. You know what I mean? Unless you've got a good flow.
But it's sterile too. Like, it's like
that's true.
I don't know if you know who Bear Grylls is, right? But you're like, sun's going down. Time to drink my own pee.
Apparently, though, like there's I don't know how much. Like how accurate it is that he actually drinks his own piss, and I'm pretty sure like wherever he is off camera, there's a Burger King waiting for him.
I've met people that have worked with Bear Grylls on said Bear Grylls show, and they have pretty much said what happens kind of happens.
Oh, really?
Like it's mostly legit. Yeah.
Oh, okay then.
Like he does do what he does.
He's not secretly
ordering. He's not like in the field behind the hotel eating things. Like he doesn't just then walk, you know what I mean, to the catering van. They are where they are. They are doing what they're doing. But yeah, I think there is some level of legitness to Bear Grylls. Okay. Sorry to shatter everyone's.
Yeah, that's fine.
Have
you ever, like, in your travels and stuff like that, have you been to any places which are that remote where you've had to struggle food wise?
No.
Racetracks are pretty hospitable places.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, outside of Santa Pod, but no, I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
That's yeah.
No.
Fuck that place.
I've never put myself in precarious situations or scenarios. I always have an exit strategy for where I am going to shit, because you have to think about those things. These are the things that are important in life, like water, food, and shitters. Because sometimes you got to pull the chute.
It's true.
That is true.
It's true. I mean, you know what I mean? If it takes you over, then
I guess the thing is, about as a parent and a husband, you have a moral obligation to make sure you come back alive as well.
Yeah.
So there is.
He goes to car events. He's not like fucking SAS.
I'm not saying that, but I've been to some weird places, so I just assume people that have travelled.
There's weird people at car events, but not necessarily weird places. What is last question, Jarod? It's a good one. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What is, and you can't say America, that doesn't count. Where is your favourite? What is your favourite?
Make a decision on the question.
Great question.
Right.
I'm going to go with where. What is your favourite country you have visited, and where is a place that you would also like to visit that you haven't been to?
That was the most special way of asking.
If you want to answer the question by asking yourself the question, that's perfectly fine.
Right. Yeah. Jarod DeAnda, if you were to recommend a location that you've been to before, where would you tell that said person to go? Also, in addition to that, where's someplace you've admired from a distance that you think you'd really benefit from?
I feel like this should be Jarod and the Devil. From
that's basically what I said. But
this is a great question you asked me, Jarod.
Thanks.
So, if I was to ask myself that, and it's funny because Jake, I asked the same question on my podcast. You poaching my podcast questions, bro?
No, I don't watch your podcast. No, I'm joking.
That's fine. So to answer the question, New Zealand is the top of the list.
Really?
New Zealand,
okay.
And it's the whānau, it's the family, the history of the country, and to be honest, how separated it is, but at the same time, it's very community driven. It's a small country, but it's so beautiful and so diverse. You can go snowboarding or to the beach, or just the scenery is just awesome. I mean, that's where they filmed Lord of the Rings, and we've been to Hobbiton. And then what's interesting enough is all my travels, the place I'd really like to go is Ireland. Like, I still have never been to Ireland, and I know it's a fairly interesting spot, but I would just like to go because I do enjoy the history and the culture, and every Irish person I meet, I enjoy their company and would like to see that kind of old-timey vibe.
I wasn't expecting Ireland.
I wasn't expecting Ireland.
No.
All I will say is, if you do drink Guinness, which I do, Guinness is obviously better in Ireland, but you will drink that much that when you come back, it will make you question your health because the standard of shit that you'll be having afterwards will be like tar because of the amount of Guinness that you're just inevitably drinking. But no, yeah.
Right.
I've only been to Dublin, but have you been to Ireland?
Yes.
You have. Outside of Dublin, or?
Where's Mondello? Dublin? No. I would like to, though.
Keep in mind, guys, like, and the reason I say that is because I have been to Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, which is like Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand. I've been to El Salvador. I've been to Japan. I've been to China, all across Europe, obviously. Where else?
South Africa.
Dominican Republic, Hawaii. I've touched 49 of the 50 states. I'm missing Vermont, Canada, Alaska, all that stuff. So I've been all over, you know, so that's kind of someplace I haven't been yet.
Yeah, you ticked a lot off that you wanted to go to already.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't it annoy you that you haven't been to Vermont?
I know, right?
Isn't it the other
side? You can't be that far away.
Like, it's East Coast, right? Vermont. It's like near New York or something.
Vermont is north. It's like up on the Canadian border.
Right. Okay.
So it's really northeast, and that's where the home of Ben and Jerry's as well as Burton Snowboards is, and yeah, it's beautiful country. Just I have no reason to go there, you know.
Other than the fact that it's the only state left. That you
literally, that's the main reason.
What other reason do you need to go there?
Just, I mean, get a cheap flight, step off the plane, step back on another plane, tick it off, achieve that goal.
But it's not just touching; it's experiencing it too.
Yeah.
Such as like I've been to Hong Kong airport, like 20 times, but I've never been to Hong Kong. I've been in that airport like a million times, but never actually set foot in Hong Kong.
What was the one state that you drove through or visited that when you left, I was like, I am never, ever coming back to this place again?
Yeah.
So which state of all of this, the 49 states?
Oh, sorry. You broke up there. Which state? I mean, I like things about this state, but traditionally it's become the heel of the country, just as far as the dynamic of people. But Florida is like one of my favorites.
Right. Okay.
Florida's your least favorite.
Yeah.
Really?
But it's just there are some beautiful parts of Florida, like the Keys are dope, the beaches are cool, and I love Walt Disney World, but it's just there's something weird about it, man. And again, I know people that are from Florida, and I love it. Like, I was just there for that Cletus McFarland Freedom Factory event, and I love. Cletus is actually from, I believe, Nebraska. I think it was, but his parents have a sweet crib and out on the boat, and he owns a racetrack. But yeah, Florida overall. I mean, there's a reason they say Florida man. I don't know if you've heard that term, if that's a British term, but there's like a placeholder where you say, "Oh, Florida man," and then film just when we get off this thing. Just look up Florida Man,
Right,
and
okay.
it's just it's hilarious.
My main take of Florida is that every pop punk band that came out of Florida sang about wanting to leave Florida. So I'm guessing
Now that makes sense.
Yeah, like,
now that makes sense.
I get that now.
Have you not?
What is, it is it like Newfound Glory on tape?
Yeah, I think Less Than Jake, Gainesville. There's quite a few bands that were from there, and every single one of them sang about leaving. So evidently you're not too far from
right
accurate on that. Yeah,
but I mean, again, all that being said, you can find great places about the shittiest place in the world. So and Florida is not that. I'm just saying, like, overall, it's kind of like I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't like humidity, and but like I said, I love Walt Disney World, Universal Studios. I love that, but
not crocodiles.
Not crocodiles.
Yeah.
And alligators.
I don't need to fight a dinosaur.
No, that's true.
But New Zealand, back on the positivity thing, is I would say that New Zealand is incredible, and shout out to Mad Mike and Tony and the whole Widette Whānau. So yeah, they're awesome. So when I say Whānau, that's that is Maori for family.
I think we should end it there on family, and throw up hearts to each other.
Well, considering how busy your schedule is, we genuinely do really appreciate you taking the time
100%.
to come out and talk to us today.
Pleasure's all mine, man. I appreciate it, and sorry to Jake. If you want, I will offer my services for your opening. If you have any particular copy or sponsors or anything you would like, you can message it to me, and I will record it when we get off this, and I will send it to you. Just send me text me your email and any copy, and you will have a new opening of Jake and the Devil,
Archer and the Devil.
Jack and the Diablo.
Just do a bunch of those, and we'll do a different one every single week. That works for me.
Yeah.
Honestly,
all right, now
one job.
We're starting talking fees. We got one. Yeah.
One job. Right, I appreciate Jarod. I did want you to be the first guest. I've admired you from afar for many years, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on our podcast. Again, like the Devil said, thank you for your time. It's much appreciated, and I've had tons of fun. It's been great fun.
Yeah, dude, it's been a pleasure.
Of course, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, much love, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man. And I will see you guys online, or I'll see you another time, or I'll see you at Gymkhana Grid.
We'll see you through the window. Peace out. Stay safe.
Later, homeboy. Bye, brother.
Cheers, brother.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Archer and the Devil.
And guest.